Whoops. Hello, hello. Thank you, Kevin Cabeza. Thank you, thank you. I forgot that I I forgot to add my mic attachment. So, geez, I gotta do my whole intro again. This is why we need Mark here. Mark's the what's the word? Producer guy. So, I'm figured I'd branch out. I like other wrestling besides Stardom, but I'm gonna try to start reviewing Raw, SmackDown, whatever I really watch. Dynamite, maybe NXT, but I don't know. I'll try. I don't know. I'll give NXT a shot. But I just took some notes on the first 3 hours SmackDown. Now that it's on USA. Uh, this is so awkward. I don't know. I'm just gonna talk to myself. So I hope if anyone wants to stick around, that's cool. I'll read the chat as we go along. So SmackDown opens up, and the first thing I noticed was we got Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett, and Joe kind of reminds me of like a Mean Gene Okerlund type, like an old school commentator. I really like his voice. But the show opens up, and we got wrestlers who they're showing them getting off their tour buses, and they're coming to the arena. And instead of just like showing you like graphics of the wrestlers next to each other, like we're gonna have this match and this match and this match. They got all the wrestlers, and it was kind of cool. Like it kind of reminded me of like NBA or like NFL, where they're all coming in with like sick ass outfits, looking like superstars. And then as they're coming in, they're like saying, "Oh, this person's gonna be doing this. This person's gonna be fighting." Dynamite right now is horrendous. There's some bright spots, but the main storyline isn't hitting. The, the only thing I know about Dynamite right now is that I'm pretty sure that their world champion is like a neo-Nazi. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I've heard. But I don't know. It'll certainly be interesting to watch, that's for sure. So SmackDown. SmackDown starts. And we got Paul Heyman. And something I noticed about Paul Heyman is that when Roman Reigns isn't around for a while, his hair starts to go gray. He looks like he hasn't eaten or slept in like weeks at a time. It's like his life force drains from his body whenever Roman's not there. And then when his tribal chief is winning matches and isn't around, he looks good. He's got like his hair magically goes back to being like jet black. And he starts bragging about Roman Reigns beating Solo, and he's the only tribal chief. And then he calls out Cody Rhodes because he says Roman has given him permission to tell Cody Rhodes exactly what Roman's new plans are after he just punked out Solo. So Cody comes out and like the roof blows because Cody's awesome. And then Paul Heyman says that Roman Reigns is entering the Royal Rumble. And I just got to thinking, like, it's crazy that like we're getting to WrestleMania season and Cody's been the champ for basically almost a year now. But Paul Heyman says that Roman's entering the Royal Rumble. He's going to win the Royal Rumble. He's going to challenge Cody. They're going to have a rematch at WrestleMania, which sounds awesome. I would love to see that match. But before Cody can respond, Kevin Owens just is in the concession stand and he's running his mouth on the mic and Cody just jumps the barricade and he just goes like running up through the crowd to go beat Kevin's ass because I love it. Cody said that it's just on sight with those two. He sees him, he's gonna beat his ass. So that just leaves Paul Heyman in the ring, and then Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga jump in, and they're about to beat up on Paul Heyman because they're assholes. Jey Uso comes. No, Jimmy. I get him mixed up. The SmackDown Uso, the one that's not as popular, comes running out to make the save, and he starts beating on him with the chair. But then he goes and he swings the chair at Jacob Fatu, who just eats the chair shot like a beast. And of course, like the Samoan werewolf puts Jimmy down. The ref and people in suits all come running out to help Jimmy. And a couple of them get taken out, and there's like 20 guys around the ring, and none of them want to get back in the ring, which I don't blame them. Finally, Cody comes running out, and he throws both Tama Tonga and Solo. I keep saying Solo. Jacob Fatu out of the ring, and the crowd goes crazy. And we go to commercial. We come back, and Solo. God, I keep saying Solo. Jacob Fatu is being escorted out of the ring by like 20 different guys, and he's saying like, "Go ahead, try to throw me out. It's gonna cost you your life." And then all out of nowhere, LA Knight just pops off from off camera and throws him out of the ring. And he says he wasn't using his inside voice, so I had to throw his ass outside. And basically, LA Knight is going to be murdered by Jacob Fatu now. All right, you're going to go to that show, but SmackDown doesn't have Io Shirai. Yeah, who do they have? You can go to NXT. NXT has like a former Stardom World Champion there now. What a downgrade, going from the Stardom Red Belt to NXT Champion. But I'm sure the paycheck is nicer. So that was that first segment, and that went like that almost went a full like hour of the show, and there was like no wrestling, but it was really entertaining. And then next up, like the first actual wrestling match, we had a rematch for the U.S. Women's Championship with Michin versus Chelsea Green. And I thought this would be a match you could just like have a bathroom break or just skip over it for time, because 3 hours is a crazy amount of time for a TV show. But my Canadians Women's Champion was on, and I love a little hot mess. And I just love Chelsea Green. They're having a nice little match. Michin goes and she does a crossbody off the top rope. But Chelsea Green is the greatest technical wrestler there ever was, that there ever is, and that there ever will be. She rolls through. She grabs her tights. She pins Michin. My Canadian U.S. Women's Champion, never-ending title reign continues. Yeah, I forget that it's. I should go to more NXT shows. Yeah, NXT is kind of like a Florida promotion. It's pretty cool. Now, this next match was definitely a filler match. Because a bunch of tag teams are arguing in Nick Aldis's office. And I don't even know what they're saying. It's a bunch of nonsense. The only thing that I even wrote a note about this was I like the reason why they're having these couple tag matches, because all these teams are like, oh, I should be number one contender. I should be number one contender. And Nick's like, yeah, well, if you want to be number one contender, go out there and prove it. So he just makes a couple tag team matches that are sort of like number one contenders matches. And then finally, LA Knight comes out to the ring. I'm assuming he was just getting drunk in the back. And he's getting a rematch for his U.S. title against Shinsuke Nakamura. I wrote a note that Nakamura is in his like Saya Kamatani goth phase. He looks pretty creepy. And LA Knight this match goes like 20 minutes. It's awesome. You should probably watch it if you like good wrestling. And then LA Knight gets jumped by Jacob Fatu for what he did earlier by throwing him out of the building. And then absolutely no security is coming out to help LA Knight because they don't want to get murdered by Jacob Fatu. But here comes Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes, and they do want to fight. And finally, after Cody and Jimmy get in there and they start like getting into a big brawl, finally some security comes out. And right before Nick Aldis can throw Jacob Fatu out of the building for like the second or third time tonight, Cody begs for a match. He's like, "No, man, I want to fight. I'm here. I'm dressed to wrestle." And so that's what he set up. That's the main event, which I like that a lot. Sitting here watching all these like fun segments, sure, but if if Jacob Fatu just got punked out and just locked outside of the building, that would have been so terrible. Oh, by the way, check out that sick ass meme. AJ Styles should totally be a sponsor for his soccer mom hair. Next up, we had Motor City Machine Guns versus A-Town Down Under. I mean, the guys with the whatever. Right? The Machine Guns picked up a win. Whatever. uh, but nothing on the show, and I mean nothing on the show, mattered up until this point. Because why? You just skip up ahead because up next was Tiffy time. In my notes, I wrote, at just the young age of just 25 years old, she's already better than all of your favorite wrestlers. She's on the Tiffy top of her game, so you better put some respect on her name and tell her what time it is. That was just me, like, writing down everything that she said. And then I'm getting into this promo, getting into Tiffy time, and then we had like a nasty stuffed ham came running out. And normally I would just skip right over and fast forward past Nia Jax, but she was interrupting Tiffy time. And then a bunch of other women kept interrupting Tiffy time. Ugh. They all want a piece of Tiffany Stratton, and I don't blame them. A huge brawl starts taking place, and then out of nowhere, because this brawl is taking place, and Tiffany Stratton just like sneaks out of the ring like she doesn't want any part of it. They're all brawling in the ring, and she just sneaks back into the ring and takes them all out with the world's prettiest moonsault. And then, besides the fact that this is Tiffy time, I also wrote down that I like that Nick Aldis is like actually a good authority figure, and I don't think there's been a good authority figure in pro wrestling since Teddy Long. So it's pretty like what's the word? I don't know. They're both SmackDown general managers. Apparently, like SmackDown's the only brand in wrestling where the general manager gets to make decisions. But he makes a fatal 4-way match for number one contenders that's happening right now. And then in my notes, I just wrote Bayley wins because I'm not sitting through a terrible match with Bayley. Well, I like Bayley, but Nia Jax, I think it was Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Bayley. So Bayley wins. She's the number one contender. She's getting the shot at Tiffany Stratton at Royal Rumble, which is kind of interesting because the story they're telling is that Bayley only lost her women's title because Tiffany Stratton screwed her out of it to help Nia Jax. But not. But then this like Nia Jax is like in the middle of it. Oh, I just remembered why I skipped like all throughout that match because when they're doing their terrible brawl, if it wasn't for Tiffany Stratton, I would have just like skipped past this whole segment. I feel so bad for these poor women. Like, how are you supposed to wrestle a couch? Like, Nia Jax is so bad. She can't talk. She can't move. She looks like she could barely breathe. Like, just, I don't know. Go get a job running to Costco for The Rock's baby oil for his next DC movie that's going to flop. But stop being a wrestler, please. And I felt like this show was kind of flying by because it was actually a really decent show so far. Although to be fair, I wasn't watching it live, so you could just skip past the parts that suck. What number is Mark entering the Royal Rumble at? That's a good question. See, me, I'm an egomaniac, right? I want to be number one. But him, he's gonna come in at he's gonna come in at like number like 13 or 14, like a random number you're not gonna expect, like whatever number Mick Foley would come out to, or some other weird legend. That's what number Mark would come out to. And then finally, man, I'm just blown through this. It's like I'm glad I took notes. Otherwise, I would have been like so just trying to recall everything that I watched in a 3-hour wrestling show. Finally, it's the main event: Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu versus Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes. And it's a good match. I don't know. You know it's a TV match, so some stuff nonsense is gonna come happening at the end. So you can go ahead and you could skip to the end if you want, or you could watch it because it's a really good match. But like 20 minutes into the match, Kevin Owens comes running out and Cody is like on site with him, so he just jumps out of the ring. He starts brawling with Kevin Owens for the second time tonight. They go fighting to the back, and now it's a 2-on-1 because Cody leaves his tag team partner Jimmy, and actually Jacob Fatu is the Samoan werewolf, so he's like a superhuman. You gotta do some Steiner math, so it's actually more like 3-on-1, and Jimmy gets squashed literally by a moonsault from Jacob Fatu. And then after the match is over, you see Cody. He comes fighting back with Kevin Owens, and they're fighting on the stage. And Cody does like a spear, tackles Kevin Owens off the stage. They go crashing through tables and other whatever else is on the side of the stage, slam into the concrete floor. And then SmackDown just kind of ends chaotically with officials are checking on Kevin as Cody's like pulling himself off the ground. They don't even like put the camera back up on Jacob Fatu or Tamatanga, so maybe they just went for like Whataburger. That or they were just sitting there beating on Jimmy for who knows. The show just kind of ended, which is pretty crazy. Overall, it's like a 3.5. It's like a 3.5, 4 kind of show. It's not like I don't know. I'm not good at giving star ratings. I liked it though. And that's my. It's not even really a review. I guess it was. It's more of a recap than a review. um, yeah. But I just wanted to jump on and get this recorded. I figured might as well make it a live stream. And then I plan on doing definitely Raw, definitely SmackDowns. I'll probably do the live streams like the day after the show, and that way, and then I'll just like sprinkle in some clips on the YouTube channel throughout the week. Oh, thoughts on Hogan getting booed? I think when I went to the WrestleMania a couple years back in Tampa, because that's where he lives, he made an appearance and got booed too. I don't know. I like Hulk Hogan. I think he's kind of the GOAT. I don't. I mean, I don't. If people are booing him, like that's fine. I don't think he's a great person either. He's kind of a grifter and just like lies about everything. But if you go back and watch like his old matches from like WWE main event or whatever, it's like he's undeniably like the GOAT of pro wrestling. So I'll probably cheer for him. I think I cheered for him at WrestleMania. I do wonder if they went somewhere because they were in like I think they were in LA when he got booed, and he's been like toting pretty hard for Trump. So I wonder if they went to like Alabama, if he would get like super cheered or if he'd still get booed. Or maybe he would get cheered because he's a racist and he's in Alabama. I have no idea. I got nothing else to say. I'm really bad at talking by myself. Thank you for telling me to turn my microphone back on. That was really like a big. I would have just been sitting here talking to myself and then have. I would have been sitting there trying to like go through the audio files for so long before my dumbass realized I just forgot to unmute my thing on OBS. But oh, be sure to let me pull something up. Let me pull something up on YouTube. Because we have a big Stardom show coming up. Stardom fan show, I should say. We have our 1 second. Display capture. Boom. All right. We have our voting for our God, I can't. It's I can't think on my own. I need Mark to help think for me. Our Stardom fan award shows. So I'll probably put out a Google docs if you don't want to sit here, go through our community page. But go ahead and go and vote if you have it, because it's going to be a fun time. It's so weird. It's like Joshi wrestlers are the best for sure, but when I watch like EO, they definitely suck on American TV. I'm not gonna lie. They can't speak English and it's awkward, and they don't give them managers, which they clearly need, and they're smaller than the American women, and they don't let them wrestle the style that they need to wrestle, or give them nearly the amount of time they need to wrestle. So even though they are probably around like the best wrestlers on the roster, they are also the worst wrestlers on the roster. It's kind of sad. But I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say bye, boy. Bye, boy. And I'll probably be back on Tuesday to talk about Raw. This was an awkward episode. We'll get better. Do not go back and watch the early Stardom episodes with me and Mark. Those are way more awkward. Bye, boy. Oh, YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe. That crap. Patreon. Links in the description. Ko-fi. StardomFan.com. All that good stuff. You know what to do. Bye.